Welcome to the Toastmasters experience. My name is Evelyn. Get inspired by today's Toastmasters insights. Enjoy the show. And welcome to another episode of the Toastmasters experience. Today I've got a guest, and he is actually my mentee. Is that right? I'm the mentor. You're the, or how?
Yeah, let's call it that.
Let's call it that. That's fine. But he's one of the newest members of Blue Mountains Toastmasters. So I'd like to welcome Guy to the show today. Welcome, Guy.
Thanks, Evelyn. It's good to be here.
We're going to start at the very beginning. What motivated you to join Toastmasters?
I knew about Toastmasters in my teens. My mum mentioned it, and this is back in Christchurch, New Zealand. And parents have both, they've always been interested in personal development. And when I was very young, sort of 5 or 6 years old, I was put into speech therapy. I guess that different little indicators in life have highlighted to me the importance of being able to speak clearly and be understood. Yeah, I guess I knew about it, and then I was curious about what it was actually like.
Okay, so were your parents members of Toastmasters?
I think my mum was a member, but
Okay.
it was a long time ago now. But
Yeah. So when did you first join Toastmasters?
It was in Sydney, and it was probably about 10 years ago.
And how long were you a member of that particular club?
Well, it was, I guess like for a lot of members, they're juggling their personal life and work and everything. And so I think I was going for maybe about a year, maybe between 1 and 2 years.
And so when you remember at that time, it's when they still had the books. It wasn't on Pathways, is that correct? The manuals. Is that right? Do you remember that? Or
I vaguely remember. I can't remember the exact details. But,
okay.
But I think from my experience of the Katoomba branch, it's very similar protocol and the way it's run. Yeah.
Right. And what made you join this time around?
Well, I'm wondering if there was some subliminal advertising around the mountains, but
Okay.
I think I heard about it somewhere, and I think because I was already familiar with what it was, and I thought, it's at the Carrington. That could be a bit fancy and a nice little place to hang out.
Yeah.
And I think it goes back to curiosity, and it's related to personal development. So I thought, just check it out.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. So you've been a member for, is it a month or 2 months now?
It'll be a couple of months now,
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
And have you delivered your first speech yet?
No.
Not yet. Okay, no. That's coming up. But you will be delivering your first, I guess it's the icebreaker.
That's it. And I'm looking forward to it. I haven't really decided on what I'm going to talk about, but I do look forward to it, and I look forward to taking the time and to prepare something. Really, it's the planning stage of deciding my desire here. What's the outcome that I want in terms of inspiring people? It might be, or informing people, or it might just be a personal goal.
Right. And so you'll need to sign up for that particular speech, which you can sign up with your vice president of education, which happens to be me. So
easy.
We'll sign you up to deliver that speech. Now, what other sorts of resources or personal development tools do you like read or listen to as far as podcasts go to help your public speaking?
There's a podcast I listen to. His name's Rob Dial, and his podcast is called The Mindset Mentor.
Okay.
I've been listening to him for a few years now. I like listening to him partly because it helps me with my mindset to just feel positive, just a positive way to start the day. But he's also a very natural speaker, quite eloquent. He uses everyday language, and so there's a little bit of slang, there's a little bit of laziness, but it's also just real and down to earth. And so I just feel for me, he connects with me.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's, while I'm improving my mindset, I'm also learning about his approach and other podcasts that I listen to, learning about different ways of
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's why Toastmasters is great. It's just sort of another add-on tool that you can add to your toolbox. Everyone has a different toolbox. So the people that I interview here on the podcast are Toastmasters members, but they also have other things that they rely on to make them a much better speaker. Now, just being a new member of Toastmasters, what are you looking forward to learn?
I think that there's learning techniques and tools. I love the evaluation part of it and the feedback that you get. And because nothing happens overnight, it's about incremental changes and you can just focus on one little thing at a time. Yeah, I look forward to just slowly chipping away at some different tools and techniques. And I
Yeah.
think at the end of the day, it's just the more you do it, the better you get, and the more confident you get, the more comfortable you feel.
Yeah, definitely. I know at the last meeting you actually used an evaluation technique that I thought was fantastic, and I'd read about it. I think in our latest magazine, our Chronicles of 90, there was the newsletter there was that article. Can you explain that a little bit?
I think that the key thing that worked for me with that wasn't necessarily that particular model, but I think I just found three different A4 pages with sort of guidance on how you can evaluate someone. I think the key thing that made it, I guess, for me, I felt like I did a good job at evaluating was that I chose one of the different methods, the guides you could call them, that I felt suited my style. And it was a simple checkbox system where, do they have a good posture? Yes or no. So it's just, there's so much to take in when you're evaluating someone. So many things to look at. And actually that was one of the key things. It was what did I see and
Yes.
what did I hear?
Yeah.
And then there's the constructive criticism as well, looking for opportunities where you can suggest something they might want to work on.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I loved when you delivered that because being a member for 16 years, I hadn't seen that method in practice. So I loved it. So it's called the shoe method.
That's right.
That's right. So it's what you see, what you hear, the opportunities, and I forgot what the E was. Do you remember what the E was?
I don't remember off the top of my
Okay,
head, but
well,
yeah, it
yeah,
was shoe,
okay.
SHOE. That's right.
SHOE. I'll put that in the show notes because we don't
It
remember
might have
right
been
now.
encouragement.
Maybe that was it
Might
because
have been,
yeah. I'll put that in the show notes. Yeah, so I love the way you deliver that. And I think that's what I love about Toastmasters. It doesn't matter how long you are a member, because obviously you're a new member, and I learned something from you on that day. What is an area in your life where communication is really important?
For me, it's all about family with my wife and my children, and it goes on to siblings, parents, and friends. But when I get home after work, I really I want to be able to connect with my family, and that's not just about speaking but listening.
In Toastmasters, like we were talking about the evaluations, listening. You listen in a different way when when you evaluate. Have you noticed that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I've actually noticed that in my life too, being in Toastmasters for so long. I hate to admit this, I wasn't a very good listener, but now that I'm with Toastmasters, I listen more intently. So I think that is one good skill that Toastmasters teach us, and we also can relate that to communicating to our loved ones. So that is a really good sort of thing to learn within Toastmasters.
Yeah, there's skills that you can take home or take to work and apply and use.
Is there something that you've learned from Toastmasters? Now, this is probably related more to when you were a member 10 years ago, but was there something that you learned from that Toastmasters group which surprised you?
I think what I learned that surprised me is how pretty much everybody feels uncomfortable
Yes.
at different times, no matter how experienced they are. Generally, I think everyone's trying to improve themselves. They're trying to stretch themselves and their abilities, their capabilities, maybe how memorable they are or which people they can connect with. I think that's one of the things I learned is that I'm not alone. It's like we're all jumping in the deep end together.
Yeah.
And so that's what I love about the environment, that it's just people are understanding and supportive.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah.
And I also, because I know we're all nervous when we deliver a speech or even deliver an evaluation, and we feel that people can see that or feel that, but really we can't. We don't see your nerves, and I think that's important to point out. Now I know you've done different roles at the meetings, but is there a favorite role that you've had during the meeting, like table topics master, evaluator, or?
I really enjoyed being the evaluator the other day. It forced me to really pay attention and to try and simultaneously focus on keeping an eye out for every little gem.
Yes.
So whether it be a body movement, a facial expression, so like the things I'm seeing, the things I'm hearing, it's quite a challenge to really be focused and then taking notes as well. That's why the checkbox system works really well. And then just jot down a couple of words if something stands out.
Yeah. So with Toastmasters, I'm so glad you're talking about this because we naturally just think it's all about speaking. But with the evaluation, when you're evaluating a speaker, it's really about listening, isn't it? So it's a really good tool to learn in Toastmasters. So you've just joined, and what do you hope to achieve in the next, I don't know, with your membership now with the Blue Mountains Toastmasters?
Yeah, I think it's just building up my confidence, talking to groups of people. So in my business, I'm looking at growing the business, and there might be times when I'll need to talk to small groups of people, maybe larger groups of people. I don't know, but there are sometimes sort of 20 people.
Yes.
There, I really look forward to just feeling comfortable standing up in front of 20 people. And at the moment, I honestly don't feel comfortable, but I'm okay with that discomfort.
Yeah.
I'm just accepting that, believing that it's these are things that I can learn and practice and develop.
Yeah, which Toastmasters is great to practice those. If you have a presentation that you need to give at work, you can practice it in this safe, supportive environment and have someone evaluate you, which I think is fantastic. So, gosh, it's been so great having you on the show. Now, I just want to finish up with one last question. What advice would you give someone who is considering joining Toastmasters?
A single piece of advice would be, we don't know what our capacity is, and we often don't know where our strengths are. Some people call them gifts or talents. So the only way to find out is to have a go.
That's so true. Yeah. Have a go. Yeah, that's so great. Thank you so much, Guy, for being on the show today. And I look forward to seeing you at the next Toastmasters meeting.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Thank you so much for your company. Please tune in next time to the Toastmasters Experience.